Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to my channel. Today I think is the 4th of April 2023. Today I'm going to be channeling Ted Kennedy, and before I go any further, when you channel somebody you can pick up some of their, not illness, well you can pick up their illnesses, aches and pains and things. You can pick up things that were in their energy field. When I say pick up, I don't mean where it becomes mine, but you can sense it, if that makes sense. So say if you're doing it for a client, you can say, I've got somebody here, a relative, and they've got a pain in their left arm, or they've got something wrong with their hip and they go, they had hip replacement. My right foot, from, you know where your toes are? So go from down from your toes, I don't know what it'd be called, the bendy bit, it's in the middle, from the middle of my foot to the toes. It's killing me. It really is painful. It started today very light. I thought, what's that? I didn't give it much because it wasn't that bad. The minute I've sat down to do this, it's like, my God, that hurts. And I was like, what's that? What's that on my foot? And I go, that would have been the foot. Even now, I'm going to describe what it feels like. It's either been the foot that he has used to slam on the brakes of let me look at the word, apologies. What was it? Chappaquiddick incident. I struggle with words. If I butchered that word, I am sorry. Massachusetts, okay? The car accident that he had where Mary Jo got killed. Or it feels as though, it feels that it's either been the foot that he's slammed on with, or he's slammed on the accelerator, or he's tried to bring his foot up and it's got trapped under the brake. Okay? I don't know anything about American cars, if all the pedals are different. I don't know about old-fashioned cars, whether the pedals would have been different back then. Honestly, it's just like electrical pulses going up. It feels I've injured myself driving. And I've not driven today, and it just feels as though it's pounding. So I think that's a big indication of the fact that we're channeling him. So Ted Kennedy, he was born on the 22nd of February 1932, and he died on the 25th of August 2002. His numerology is 21 and 3. I'm not being rude, I've just got some notes written down. And this is belting, this. 21, emphasis on finding sense of purpose and experiencing a meaningful life. Number 3, problem solver, come up with solutions quickly, think outside the box, can be childish. And if we think back to that night, I mean, the choices he made, I think it's made many people's blood run cold since that night of, it's interesting because one of the things he wants to talk about is the Camelot. What's it called? The fact that the family are compared to Camelot. Did he struggle with getting his words out? Because it feels as though he is really struggling to get his words out. A family that was compared to Camelot, and this is something he told me when I was getting ready. Camelot was all the Knights of the Round Table, the Knights of Honour, etc. A family that was compared to Camelot was actually anything but Camelot, especially the males. And if you look at how they treated their wives, their marriages, their mistresses, the way they treated their womenfolk, the way they treated girlfriends, in Ted's case, this situation, his marriage, they were anything but knights, all of them, including Jack, Bobby, and maybe even JFK Jr. That there was many question marks over how they communicated and lived and existed amongst their womenfolk, mothers, daughters, lovers, mistresses, wives, etc. And it's actually a big teaching moment for us on how we look at the families within our world. The families on the global stage, we've still got them to this day, well-known families that many people worship, look up to, and choose not to see the darkness. Because the truth is, with all of these families, there is great light and great gold. All that glitters isn't always gold, I'm hearing. All that glitters isn't always gold. And it's still a teaching moment that we're all going through. I used to worship the Kennedys. I used to think they were amazing, and since I've gone on my healing journey and gradually starting to see them through a different lens, I don't see them as the villains. I don't see them as the heroes that I used to see. I see them as multidimensional human beings that were imperfect, that were flawed just like ourselves. And let me just, do you know, I keep losing my thread. And when you do a channeling, you feel as though you know the person beforehand. And it's almost like I'm sat here and I feel as though I know nothing about him. And as I was talking to you about the families, I was like, in my head, I was like, why am I sat here feeling as though I know nothing about this man that I'm about to channel? And he said, it's because I knew nothing about myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my boundaries were. There's an issue with boundaries. He didn't know who he was. He knew who Joe's son was, his dad. We've had this before with the Kennedy men, the senior Kennedy men, JFK Sr. and RFK Sr. and Teddy himself. The fact that because they had such a domineering father, they didn't know who they were. And imagine being a person that has such power in your fingertips, such influence on the world, and yet you don't know who you are. And he's also saying that that is true of men and women that are on the world stage now that come from influential families. They end up where their soul essence just isn't there. It's there, but it's almost like it's not switched on. I've got a cup of tea, okay? Why are you sharing that? Because when we do channelings on here, we like to get a cup of tea, and you guys can get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and you guys can eat a biscuit, have some cake, or have a takeaway, or have your tea or your lunch or your breakfast. Let me know in the comments if you are eating what you're eating, because I'm nosy. But yeah, we like to have something to drink. I drink, I don't eat. Nobody wants me slapping during a channeling today. Yeah, so it feels as though this is going to be a very different channeling than we've done before. I put a bit too much milk in there. Oh. I don't like milky tea. And if you think about his numerology, what I'm hearing is, as a little boy, when he came into incarnation as a soul, there was so much pressure on him. I do not know his astrology. I've got someone that can do astrology for me, and I forgot to check in and say, could he do his chart? Apologies for that. But, because I feel as though his astrology is going to be a burden as well. But his numerology is a burden as well. He's also got a father that's a burden that's putting pressure on him. And it's almost like I want to get my thumb and just press on it. I would like to channel Joe Kennedy at some point. A problem solver. That night, he was anything but a problem solver. It's almost like his numerology, there's great hope there. But at the same time, that great hope can be twisted and become something that's a great menace. Coming up with solutions, he didn't. Problem solver, he didn't. Quickly think outside the box. Now that can be a great thing if you're in the boardroom, we're saying, or if you're in a meeting and you need to be thinking outside the box quickly. But when you're in something like that, a situation of, I'm hearing abandonment and trauma and pressure, thinking outside the box can actually be a bad thing. Because actually what we need to do in those moments is go in and think from our heart space and from our space of compassion. I'm sorry, the reason why I'm zoning out is because I'm being shown something about that night and about just after the accident. What am I being shown? Letterbox, if you heard that bang. It came really quickly. I feel as though this with my foot really is if you slammed on and you slammed on really. I almost want to say I feel as though the car is driving along, it slams on, and I feel as though it, yeah, because he had like a neck injury as well, didn't he? I mean, people say he had that fake, he put it on for fake, but I feel as though there's a pain in the neck as well. So he slams on, it turns a bit, and then it falls in. That's how I'm seeing it. So we're driving along, slam on, really like proper slam on, and it's almost like it turns and then it tips over like that. but it came in really quick. He said it was part of there is a curse on the Kennedy family. I think there'll probably be more than one curse on the Kennedy bloodline. But he's taking me back to Victorian times. This isn't making excuses about what happened, he's totally accountable. So he's taking me back to Victorian times, Victorian Kennedy era, which I know nothing about. I'm seeing male Kennedys back in Victorian era. The Kennedys who we probably don't know about. And they were very similar to what they are then, as in the 50s and 60s, and what they are now as well. Now I'm being taken over to Ireland. I felt as I was in London then I'm being taken over to Ireland. And there's somewhere, I don't know anything about this, there was some type of a seer, a priestess of darkness, obviously, if you're going to start doing curses. It must have been a call from somewhere, like maybe London. One of them had gone to London. I don't know anything about Victorian Kennedys. I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing. Some kind of a telegram, some kind of letter. I'd say call, but obviously they didn't have phones back then. Were they time travellers? Shut up, making it complicated, Claire. There's something, I'd get frustrated watching me. Something starts in London, but it results in some type of a witch, seeress, sorceress in Ireland doing something to the family line. I'm seeing the doll that she used, and I'm seeing where she put the pins in. She put the pin in the heart, she put the pin up the spine. She's put the pin in the groin. She's got some money and she's tied it to one of the food, but she's burnt it. This is how she set the curse up. I won't go too deeply into it. And I'm hearing I wouldn't like to be the one that tries to lift it off that family, which is quite sad actually, because you'd like to think eventually it could be lifted. Can it be lifted? It's like with any curse. It can be, but the person, the family, the bloodline that wants it lifted have to be ready for it, and they have to want to be ready for it. Because the thing is with these type of things, they can actually, sometimes it feels like they can work in favour for the family, power and presidency and all of that. I think if that was lifted, they'd have to go back to humble times, the Kennedy clan. I really do. It'd be a deep, clean sweep, and it'd have to take them back to more humble origins. Right. Okay, so we cleared the notes. I've got some notes. I want to look at his childhood, his marriages, because he was married twice, and the Kennedy curse, which we've looked at. Oh, yeah, I knew I had to turn over. God, I nearly didn't turn over, and that would have been a bit of a daft thing to do. So last night I'm sat in bed, and I'm writing these notes up, and I'm like, Ted, show me a past life. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to look for a past life. Sweep down the ages, see if I can see him. And I got Pontius Pilate. And literally, when I get stuff, I've said this before, it like boof, and it just hits me in the third eye. And I was like, Pontius Pilate. And I was like, what? Pontius Pilate. And I'm like, okay, so was he the man that betrayed Jesus, wasn't he? A Roman emperor? I knew bare basics about him, and I still do know bare basics about Pontius Pilate, because I didn't want to try and Google too much. I don't like Googling too much before channeling, because it can muddy the waters. And when I did briefly look at Pontius Pilate, just to get the bare basics of him, he was a man as well that was controlled by his elders and his higher-ups. You see Pontius Pilate in the history books, he's a bit like Ted Kennedy, where you think, baddie, fancy doing that. He sacrificed Jesus, he sacrificed Mary Jo, and your initial thing is, oh, baddie. But actually when you look at the story of him, he was actually in control as well. He was controlled. So there's this thing about his soul journey, and the card that he picked out pre-recording as I was sat with him was the card of soul journey. So this is about the soul journey and the fact that our incarnations are about enjoying life and experiencing time on earth, but they're also about clearing this debris, clearing these incarnations where we've lost our way, we've lost our power centre. And you may think, well, you're born into the Kennedy family, that's a power centre. You're Pontius Pilate, that's a power centre, is it? Because what he's saying is real power comes from love. Real power comes from your heart. Real power comes from integrity. Real power comes from doing the right thing. And you reincarnate and you're put into these similar situations, different people, maybe same souls, different incarnations, different countries, different skin colours, different religions. It's almost like you get totally shook up, but the thread and the story is similar. And then you've got to try and weave your way out of it again. Not, as when I say weave your way out of it, I don't mean, leave the scene of the crime, but try to weave yourself away from being powerless. And it's the soul journey. And then you work your way back home. And he's saying as well that there are so many helpers in the higher realms that can help us. When you're in your earthly incarnation, a lot of the time many people can feel lonely, really lonely. And he's taking me back to his time on earth. He wouldn't have had these conversations about guides and angels and galactics and the universe. Joe Kennedy would not have allowed that. Joe Kennedy was the king of his world. You did what Joe said. You didn't go against what Joe said. So if you're watching this and you've got a dad like Joe, or a mother like Joe, or a partner like Joe, or a boss like Joe, and you feel as though your power's gone, know that you can call on these different beings, and you don't have to know their names. Ascended Masters, Jesus, Metatron, beings of light, shamanic beings of light. Call on the one. He's saying there's ones for different types of religions as well. He's saying that all belief systems have their beings over there. There's not just one set for everything. If you're Buddhist, there's all your beings of light that are for the Buddhist belief system. If you're Muslim, there is all your beings of light for the Muslim. So there's always a crew to call upon if you're feeling lonely. And he's saying when you come across moments in your life like that one at can't even say it. He told me to say it, to take my time saying it and say it very slowly, like Chappaquiddick. Should have heard me last night, sat in bed. Chappaquiddick. Must do my own head in at times. Chappaquiddick. See, things we have to do for these videos. Still probably said it wrong. Probably like Chappaquiddick or something like that. Apologies if I've butchered it. Anyway, so if you find yourself in a situation where things start going wrong, you've made a mistake, the heat is on, stop. He's saying stop and ground. Because he's saying when you get into a situation like that, adrenaline can be a blessing. And that's interesting. Sorry, my crystal balls are on my shelf. And one of them is reflecting on, is it my crystal ball? Like a little portal on my wall. I think it is a crystal ball. Oh, he's showing me the moon that night. He's showing me the moon. Sorry, this is how it works. He's showing me the moon. It was quite a dark, I don't know if this has any kind of we bounce about when you work with spirit. You do bounce about. They're on a different frequency and different timelines and you bounce about with spirit. He was probably like that in life, very bouncy about and not grounded and choices and thoughts and decisions and what shall I do? What would you call that moon? What would you call that moon? I reckon that would be I don't know the name of it. It's where it's just about to go into new moon. It feels like it was a dark night. Anyway, what were we? So, you're in a trauma, something's just happened, you've done something wrong, you're like, God, you want to try and cover it up, you want to try and escape it. He's saying he went into fight or flight. He's going to explain that in a minute. Okay, so you can ground. You ground and you call in your guides, because if you're anything like him and his brothers, they were not taught how to stand on their own 2 feet. It was puppet master energy with those boys. I'm saying those boys, I'm looking down because they're there. Okay, so that's why I keep looking down. I've not read this book yet, by the way. I did buy it when I was going to channel him. I will then read this once I've channelled him, okay? See if there's any pictures in here. Oh, I'm looking at pictures. So, anyway, Claire being rude. So, let's pull this back in. Ground and call in your guides, because if you're anything like those 3 were, all the Kennedy children, you've got no personal power, it's taken from you. I'm almost seeing Joe as well. Actually, and this can happen with a lot of parents, where that you can power steal off people, and we call it also soul theft, where you take over everything for somebody, and it's called soul theft. So there's soul loss, where you lose soul fragments in a trauma. There's also soul theft, where like when parents jump in and do everything for you, or everybody's got your micromanagers, that kind of thing, where people want to just do everything for you and just jump in and save the day, or they daren't tell you no because it's going to upset them, and it's tragic really. So there's soul theft going on, there's power theft going on, and that's what helped to make Joe really powerful, until it tipped the axis, and that's when his stroke started to happen. So that's another thing. When you start taking people's personal power and people's soul essence, it becomes a foreign energy within your body. At first you're fired up and you've got loads of energy and everything's working for you, and then bang, because it's foreign, it's like any kind of foreign thing, a bacteria, a disease, a virus, your body reacts. He's saying the stroke was sent to Joe to calm him down, to slow him down, Otherwise it would have been a lot worse. God, this is going to be one of those vast readings, isn't it? We're there, we're everywhere. This energy that I'm feeling, where we're talking about this and we wanted to go here and we're going there and we're seeing that. This is something that you struggled with after the accident, where you go all over the place. You're ringing this person, ringing this, you don't even know what you do. It's almost like I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm feeling as though I'm him now, I don't even know what I'm doing. I want to walk, I want to sit, I want to eat, I want to drink, I want to sleep, I want to run. I want to call my dad, but I don't want to call my dad because my dad's the worst person you can tell. I want to call this person, that person. But actually at the end of the day there was nobody really. And it's just like this whirlwind of energy. He's showing me now afterwards and actually being able to sense, and I'd even say see, Mary Jo's ghost. I'm seeing him now after the accident, and she's at the bottom of his bed. He had PTSD as well when he was things like showering or getting a bath, anything with water. He really struggled with water after that. I just think this whole video is going to be talking about that accident. I think, you know, these little pinpoints I've done, we may cover them, we'll try. But Spirit always have their own ideas. Pull me some cards for that night. So we're using the Oceanic Tarot, again, water tarot, water energy. There's also, as I'm doing this as well, I'm also aware of the accident with JFK Jr and water as well. So there's a real need to cleanse in that family. There's mermaid energy around that car. When that car goes in, there's mermaid energy. Show me 3 cards for the night of the accident, please, Ted. Show me 3 9. Three nines. Now, you won't have 3 nines. Three nights. What was I going to say? Was I going to say 3 nights or 3 nines? 3 nights. 3 nights? What's nights? Is it nights? I was going to say nights. Was I going to say 3 nines? Show me 3. Was it 3 people that he contacted and they all knew something that we don't know? Was it? I don't know. There's something about 3. 3 people, 3 nines, 911, 3 nights. Was it 3 o'clock in the morning? There's something about 3. Let me know in the comments. Heartache. Do you know? I piss people off doing these. I know I do. 3. I was going to say to you guys, I'm going to say if I get a 3 card in this reading after I've just said about that 3 nights, 3 nines, 3 whatever, I'm out of here. And look what we get. We get the 3. Who were the 3 people? Would it have been Joe Kennedy, as in president? Was he even president at that time? Why? This is what happens when you don't do research. Let's keep shuffling. Heartache. So he did suffer after that. Reflection. 6 of Cups reflection. Need to Google the date. I should have done the numerology for this accident. Kicking myself now. 10 of Wands. Responsibility and drama at the bottom. Apologies, I'm gonna have to Google this date now because I'm getting frustrated. I wish I'd done the numerology on this now. Ted Kennedy accident. 1969. So Kennedy wasn't the president, so Kennedy was out of it. So it's not Kennedy. 18th of July. Bobby Kennedy, was he out of it as well? But I don't think we'll find out who these 3 are, to be quite honest. And sometimes you're not meant to find these, especially if it's a bit like, you know, a bit weird. He died in 68, so he's out. So it's neither of those 2. Who were these 3 people then? Anyway, so we've got drama, we've got toxicity. We've got heartbreak. Whoops. We've got this is a reflective moment, a moment of self-reflection, a moment to actually look at how we don't take responsibility for ourselves. Somebody blackmailed him about this accident as well. I'm hearing that he was blackmailed afterwards. Why would he be blackmailed? Because we knew the accident. There's something missing. There's something missing. Let's pull some cards. Do you know when I read this book and I'm like, oh, bloody hell, that makes sense now. I'm going to have to do another reading. Part 2, Ted Kennedy. What was this about? What we're not seeing. Show us what we're not seeing if we can see it. Can we see it? A vision. Drama. He was going to try and run for president, wasn't he? Motivation, yeah. This stopped him. Passion. Stopped his passion. So let me sit with this for a bit. Let me sit with it for a bit. Somebody blackmailed him about his reaction to it. Because did he not make out as though he lied, didn't he? He lied because that was the whole thing of it. He lied, he left her, he didn't try and save her, he left the scene of the crime and he was blackmailed. But there's other things that were going on that night. I'm not even sure if he'd not got something in his system. Have you got something in your system? Is it alcohol? There's something that's impeded him that night, something like alcohol. There's something that's gone on that night that we don't know about in this situation that was able to be fodder for somebody to manipulate, to control him, to stop him going forward. This is why I don't like looking at things online, because I do know a basic thing about it, because you've got to try and shove that out and actually just focus on what you're seeing energetically. See, I've just seen now as I've closed my eyes a flashing of lights coming at me. I know what it was. It was a hit that went wrong. It was a hit. Because when I saw that flashing light, I got Diana. Why am I whispering? But I got Diana and that tunnel. Yeah. It was a hit that went wrong. God, I think we got there in the end. He was meant to die that night. And once he survived, it was like, that was game over for him. God, we got there in the end. It was a hit. This is the thing when you work with spirit, they never just drop it. I get so frustrated. I just love them to I just love to sit and go, just drop. They like you to use your spidey senses. They like you to fire up your own intuition and your own third eye. They don't just want you to drop it. Because often you'll get, if you're channeling them, how come you're not getting all the answers like straight away like that? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. Some stuff it comes in really quick, and then some stuff you've got to sift through as well when you're working with energy. You've got to sift through all the energetic debris that's there, all the stuff you've read, seen, heard. You've got to clear that out so it feels as though this was a hit. I'm going to ask the cards now. Teddy, why do I keep calling him Teddy? I feel like his mum then. I just felt his mum come through. Teddy, that wasn't even like my voice. Teddy. My foot's going again. Could you give me some cards to deny or confirm what I've just thought about that night and it being a hit? Crossroads, choice, not being able to see something. Ambition, King of Swords. Passion, Queen of Wands. Imagination, Page of Cups. Whenever I see this imagination card, how can I say this? It's my imagine card. Even if I'm doing personal reading for clients, it always reminds me of John Lennon, this card, imagination. And the card imagine. Similar situation, as in questionable endings. Yeah, you get what I'm saying, don't you? Yeah, a choice, a crossroads. Ambition, we want to stop you becoming president. Maybe you didn't want to play the game, you know. Maybe you didn't want to play the game. There's something we're not seeing it, and I don't think we're meant to see it. And I am not the type of reader, especially with these kind of things, where I want to see it all, because I just don't. It's just not. But Passion, Queen of Wands, I feel as though this is Mary Jo. She has mermaid energy within her. She's got mermaid energy. When that accident happened, for all that he could sense her spirit, it feels as though she was taken back to the mermaid realm as well. The traumatized part of Mary Jo was what was seen at the bottom of his bed. But yeah, so who was responsible? Let's go in. Let's do it. Who was responsible for the car accident? What time are we on? Time's running out. This time of this is just crossroads. The Two of Swords. See, I'm wondering when I said the Three of Knights, the Three of Knight, the Three of whatever I was going to say. I don't even know what I was going to say. Three of Knights. I don't know. I wonder if these were people powers that were at the time that were three blokes, because they would have been men. Yeah. Or it could be we had the president. Yeah, because it's well, same thing happened with Bobby, didn't it? We're going to stop you. They couldn't stop Jack. He got in. Bless him. Then Bobby, bye bye. And with Ted, but then once that had happened, it feels as though he backtracked in his political career, and it just feels as though he became directionless after that. I've just slept, I apologise. Right, so show me how you felt after the accident, a few days after the accident. Self-reflection and judgment fell out, but I put it back. That was weird. Self-reflection and judgment, really. Self-reflection, judgment. Drama. Things with his wife exploded as well. There was a lot of drama that went on for years and years and years and years and years. Love, Ace of Cups. Sensitivity, the Queen of Cups. Mary Jo. I see another name that I'm going to struggle with. Mary Jo Kopechne. Apologies if I butchered another name. I just feel as though her frequency was really high. I mean, if you just look at her. And it's almost like he couldn't believe that he was responsible. He was responsible, not him personally responsible for ending her, for her death. He said it would have been a blessing had he died. It would have been a blessing had he died and she could have survived. He says, but then life is always made very difficult for the survivors. Says it all, doesn't it? Caught in the crossfire. Caught in the crossfire. It's almost like that night was orchestrated. There's somebody, how I see these type of people, they're always faceless. I think that's what my guides do to just keep me zipped up, because I know otherwise I'd be like that. I always see them as faceless. There's somebody organising that night to put him in that position. It's just powerless. And this isn't him saying it's not my fault, it's just powerless. It's just... It's weird energy. Weird energy. Did he even... I wonder if he loved her. See, I have seen the film Chappaquiddick, is it? I've seen the film, I saw it last... In fact, no, it wouldn't have been. It was about May last year. But I can't really remember all of it, to be honest. I can't remember all of it. Was he in love with her? Was there something else going on? Transformation, death, the Queen of the Ocean, abundance, endurance. What was your friendship like between you both? What was the energy like between you both on that night? Responsibility. As I was asking, he says, please make it clear there was nothing like that, because this Mary Jo was a woman of integrity, is saying she wasn't a bit on the side, and he said it's unfair to actually make that out. I'm not making that out, I'm just drawing the question. That it wasn't, but it's almost like not a love as in, love, but it was like she was a really decent woman. It feels like she was a really decent, clean living woman. There's something about it affected him deeply. Responsibility, he had a responsibility to get her back to safety. Again, it comes back to the knight in shining armour. He wasn't a knight in shining armour. None of the Kennedy men are knights in shining armour. Heartache. Drama. Loyalty. He should have been loyal to her. He should have been loyal. I'm wondering if, excuse me, I'm not excusing it and he's not excusing it, but again this makes more sense, where bang, there's a car accident. Oh my God, if you've got an inkling that there's something trying to prevent you moving forward in your life, that's going to hyper everything. You're going to, we're sat here as Joe Blogs, and we have no idea in this incarnation what it's like to be these types of people, where it's after you or it wants to stop you, if that makes sense. But if you've got an inclination that that's around the corner, or your spidey senses come out and you think this isn't right, you see something flash it, white light, etc., that is going to make you go into fear. So there is more to that night than we know. And I'm not saying that excuses leaving a woman in a car. It doesn't. But it also shows you the different layers of it, and that it's not just an A, B, C, D, E. That happens A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's many different layers to everything in life. The untold story, but is it the untold story? She used to work with the Kennedys, didn't she? Did she know something about the Kennedys? Whatever it is that night is not clear. Drama. Did she know something about the Kennedys? Did she know something about the Kennedys? Or was she just caught in the crossfire? Which isn't good anyway, is it? Did she know something about the Kennedys? Endings. Trust. I don't think she did. I think it was definitely meant for him, for Teddy. It wasn't meant for her. But it's a lesson to all of us about who we work with, where our belief systems are, where we are, where we put our loyalties, where we put our trust, where we put our work ethic. Because there are so many people out there like Mary Jo that show up diligently to work for different powerful people and don't realise what's going on behind closed doors, what's going on at different levels, and can get so easily caught up in the crossfire. Losing jobs, losing lives, losing their integrity, losing their reputation. And this isn't about blaming her, this is about another lesson to us about the fact that it just feels as though she had so much trust there. She had so much trust. Had the blind leading the blind then. So, break that energy up. We're going to go into childhood. We're going to go into childhood. What was your childhood? Can I see some cards? Can I see some cards for your childhood? Can I see your childhood? I'm seeing him as a baby. And he's in some type of a nursery at his home. And he's screaming and screaming and screaming. There's a woman that comes in and she smacks his face. Is that his mother? Is it your mother? Or is it a nanny? Who was that? Who just smacked your face? It's his mother. He says she was a psychopath. She was a psychopath. So that'd have been Rose Kennedy, wouldn't it? She was a psychopath. Wow. His mother was a psychopath. Sorry, I keep saying his mother was a psychopath. Felt it as well. Show me a card for your mother. Show me who your mother was. Show me who your mother was. Rose Kennedy. Growth. Ace of Wands. Reunion. The Three of Cups. The Three of Cups. Three of Cups. Sorry, I'm just thinking about something. Sorry. Three of Cups. Three sons. I mean, they had a different son. They had another son as well, didn't they, that died in World War II. Three Cups. If you followed me a while, I jokingly always say my Three of Cups cards are always, to me, I know they're about celebrations and parties, etc., and people working together, but I always call them my three in a marriage card. They're always my Diana card. I don't read them like that if they're not meant to, but I always jokingly say, oh God, if ever I'm looking in a reading about affairs and that comes up, I know that that's an affair card. So it feels as though there were affairs with sorry, I keep looking down because I just got an inkling that, I don't know, this family's complex. I just want to look at them because they do look similar, don't they, the Kennedy brothers? Because I just had a feeling that maybe he wasn't Rose Kennedy's son. Let me look at Rose Kennedy. God, maybe we should Googled all this now, aren't you, Claire? No, I'm not. Rose Kennedy. Rose. $18.90. Oh, July 22. July the 22nd to January 22nd. Everyone's getting wound up now because I'm just saying. Something about her and these children. Kennedy children all look the same though. They've all got a similar look about them. Right, okay, thank you for clarifying that. Joe Kennedy at this time had got somebody else pregnant. Probably don't know. Some of you may know about it if you've done further research. But it was at the time when Joe Kennedy had got somebody else pregnant. What I'm picking up is the fact that there's other children out there that were born to Joe that were sent his affairs. I don't mean that disrespectfully. But they're just... It's warped. It's a real warped energy. He's just a piece of work. I'd love to channel him though. Is he like that in spirit now? He's difficult. He's stubborn. He's unwilling to change. And he's saying it probably wouldn't be a good idea to channel him as he is now. He's still anchored. He's still earthbound, is Joe Kennedy. And he won't move on to the light. He's saying he still haunts Hyannis Port. People, when they go into wherever his office was, they can smell him. So he says it wouldn't be a good idea to channel him at all. What about your mum? What's she like now? She just seems out of it. I've just seen her floating about like she's almost really out of it. Like she's on some type of, would it be laudanum? There's something she's taking and she's off her face. She's just off her face. And she's just, it's almost like she's earthbound as well. Ooh. She had a split, I don't know anything about Rose Kennedy, but I'm hearing she had a split personality. She was very good at keeping it together, and I'm seeing her putting her suits on and her dresses and jewellery and the hair done. But when behind closed doors, I mean, he just said she was a bitch. He said she was a bitch. He said she was a bitch to the wives as well. God. Oh. Oh, Camelot. So that was his childhood. Was there any love in your childhood? No. Anxiety, fear. Pressure. One more card for your childhood. I'm shaking. Fear. Those children were ruled by fear. It's obviously like my bones and my muscles. And they're just success. Success. You'll be successful. You'll get this family where it needs to be. And you'll do it at any cost. And if you don't, honestly, I am not joking. What I'm seeing now, you know when I channeled Jimmy and I talked about his mother, it's probably worse than that, and that took some beating. If you've not seen that channeling, go to my playlist and go down to Jimmy, Jimmy Savile, okay? Loyalty. And you'll be loyal to the Kennedy name. And if you're not, you're finished. Whoa. Right. Your marriage. Talk about your marriages. Feels like he's not present with his marriages. He said they got a broken man, but they both got a broken husband. Sensitivity. One of them was a Queen of Cups. Was this the one that had the drink problem that he was married to? See, again, I don't know her name because I didn't Google it. I try not to, sorry, I know I frustrate people when I don't Google stuff, but I try to keep it clean because otherwise you start taking it in and you take different perspectives and it just muddies the reading. The Queen of Cups, Queen of Cups, she wasn't functionally saying she couldn't cope with it. Feels as though he just swept along to marry her. He had an issue with women because it comes back to the mother wound. Still shaking. He had an issue with women because it comes back to the mother wound. That's aqua de Florida I've just used. Use it shamanically to get the heaviness off, if that makes sense. Yeah, what do you want to say? But do you want to talk about your marriages or not? Because you don't have to. He's saying it was the saddest part of his life. I think, am I right? Am I picking up something here? Show me in cards privately. I won't discuss it on camera until you show me the cards. Sorry. Show me what I'm picking up and if I'm right. If I'm right, can we discuss it on camera? Nice, well that's not answered. Keep going. 3 cards then. 3 of Cups. Endings. Restriction. I thought it was gay for a minute. He's not. I thought I picked up this energy of not being able to feel comfortable with women, physically, emotionally, but it's all down to childhood. If you think about the mother is the first female that the son knows. So whatever goes on there has repercussions for the rest of his life until he gets healing. There was an issue with drink, though, an issue with addictions and fast living, and it wasn't just him as well, it was Jack and Bobby. None of them were ready for love, for compassionate love, for romantic love, for balanced love, for a loving marriage and a loving relationship, to get a loving wife or a loving husband, whatever they just weren't equipped for it. And you saw, I keep looking down because I've got the picture there. You just see them in their suits there. And they look like the typical man of the 50s, 60s. The suits, and they look like the power suits, but they're just not. It's almost like when you take off the suits, I'm not talking about them being naked, I'm just talking about when you take off the power suit, they're just weak, and it's almost like there's nothing there. I'm feeling Jack Kennedy's energy coming in now, and he's saying that he was worried about Ted. I'm seeing a school, it could be a boarding school, but there's some form of abuse going on in a school, and I think it's surrounding Ted. It was a school that he went to, could have been a boarding school or a friend's house, but it feels like it's got a school energy. Dyslexia as well, there's something with Ted, there's other vulnerabilities, there's not just the ones with the vulnerabilities that we've spoken about, there's other vulnerabilities going on there with Ted. So talking about token. Do you know I did write down the date of the incident? It is written down. I thought that was unlike me to do something like that, not write down that. Yeah, I've written the date down, 18th of July. 18th, 19th of July 1969. Excuse me. Soul family. Focus. Boom. People ask themselves all the time, why was I born into this family? Why was I born to... Take him for example, toxic mother, toxic father, toxic everything. Why am I born into this? When we talk about soul family, we think, oh, our soul tribe, the ones that make us feel good. But he's saying actually your soul family has another meaning to it as well. They're a group of souls that you reincarnate with in order to make you grow. In shamanism, your parents are either nurturers or growers. If you get a nurturer as a parent, you'll have a really loving, balanced parent or parents who you love with all your heart. It's a balanced relationship. There's no toxicity. They've been a real, loving, compassionate nurturer. Or you get a grower, okay? And that's just what we choose as a soul. It's nurturer or grower. And the growers can be abusive. They can be abusive all kinds of ways. There can be all kinds of things that the growers bring to the table. But the whole meaning of it is actually for you to find yourself. Because it's really easy to find yourself when we're in calm waters. But it's harder to find yourself when you're in wavy waters. We're back to water again. He could have found himself that night and done the right thing. So this is the flip side of it now. This is about finding yourself. You may look at your own families and think, God, why was I born into this? Jesus. But actually, it's a gift. Flip it round, it's a gift. Because it reflects something back to you that you need to heal within yourself. Take Ted back to his lifetime as Pontius Pilate. And there'll be hundreds and thousands of past lives he's had. That maybe he was the abusive parent. There's always that karmic lesson that you have to come back and learn it. You have to come back and experience what it feels to be like that. So it'd be easy to go, Rose Kennedy did this. But there was something within Ted that needed that experience. And there's something within everyone that needs that experience. And that can be really triggering for some people. But that is just how karma works. Karma has been made to be so toxic. Karma will get you. Karma's a bitch. And it's been turned toxic. Karma is not toxic. Karma are the lessons that you need to learn to rectify and rebalance what you've done in past incarnations. And it's about keeping your focus. Where is your focus? Is your focus on a heart-centered life? Or is it on power, money, greed, titles? Where is our collective focus? What we focus on as a collective? Who are we admiring and bigging up? Are we admiring people of true light? Or are we admiring people that we think are light or are made to look like light via the matrix, via how the matrix can manipulate things? Can I have some cards on the Kennedy curse, please? The Kennedy curse. That's interesting. It's easy, isn't it, to blame it all on a curse in a family? It's the curse. It's the curse. See how he flipped my cards up again? It's almost like, yeah, we're not looking at curse. We're not looking at the cards. He wants to talk. He says it's easy to go. It's the curse of there is curses there. There's a big curse there, a huge curse there. He says, but in actual fact, we can cause our own curses. Curses can be a lot of things. They can be where people have had intention and they've got voodoo people to do it on you and witches and things. Curses can be cursed energy where you can wish bad on people or say bad. That can cause cursed energy within someone's energy field. And there can also be cursed energy that is formed via how you treat each other as a family. So this family had two parents that were incredibly toxic and poisonous. They're not gonna raise healthy, vibrant, balanced, loving individuals, are they? What's going to come from that is going to be a curse that was formed. The family were forming their own curses on a daily basis. His behaviour that night in Chappaquiddick. I didn't know without having to go Chappaquiddick. Okay, so that formed a curse. You can almost change the word curse into karma. Change the word curse into karma. Talking about Cain and Abel. Oh, I see, I don't know about the Cain and Abel story now. The Cain and Abel story. Let me know in the comments what the Cain and Abel story is, because I don't know. Is that a Jeffrey Archer book? There was two people called Cain and Abel, there wasn't there? They were the children of Adam and Eve, I think. Oh, she knows nothing. Ew. What can you do with family curses then? We know we can take them off, get a healer to take them off. But what can you do? What can individuals do when they've made all these? We do it all the time. How can they go forward with that? Where can they take the power back? How can you transform that as an alchemist in your own life, Ted? Did I make that question clear? Expansion. Expansion. Healing, healing, healing. Awakening, ascension. Knowledge. Teaching. Being present with yourself. Being accountable with yourself. Not blaming everybody else for your misdemeanours. Not blaming mummy and daddy when yes, mummy and daddy may have been abusive, but not continuing to blame them. Oh, I'm doomed. This was abuse, that was abuse, I'm done. Or, you know, I'm a hopeless case. I see it all the time. It's a hopeless case. It's about expansion. It's about growth. It's about coming out of the victim mindset. And no, I keep getting said this here, but what happens when a trauma happens? Of course, you're a victim, but then there comes a time when you have to flip that. You have to look at what that is teaching you about yourself. Any good teacher or healer will teach you that and try and help you with that. Any healer that is trying to keep you in victim mode, question them. Okay, because actually a true spiritual healer wants you to see the deep lessons in all of it, even the most darkest, scariest abuse. They want you to see the empowerment in it, and the fact that although that may have been a really traumatic experience, it was actually giving you a moment to clear something that needed to clear. So expansion, empowerment, sovereignty. Anything else you would like to say? Anything else that wants to come in for this channeling? No card for that. Oh, do you know, stop doing cards all the time. See, I just got the JFK Jr flight, and I saw that in my third eye, and I heard that wasn't an accident either. Healing, angel of the ocean. There's something with this family, you know, of water. The water, seas, rivers, lakes have kingdoms in them. You can't see them. Sometimes you can see them with your physical eye. But there's something about this family and returning back to water. The affinity sign as well. So what was the JFK Jr? God, we're just flying about. My God, why did you say that? God, we're just flying about now. Show me the energy of the night that JFK Jr passed. Show me the energy behind the crash. Gossip. Page of Swords. Gossip. Travel. Gossip and travel. God, what's going on there? Gossip. Sorry. What's going on? See, again, I don't know anything about that. So that's why I'm like, go on, Claire, trust you. Get in your third eye. Never mind looking at Google. What are you saying? Say what you see. Do you know a catchphrase? I think it's a UK thing. Say what you see. What do I see? See, I'm seeing a candle burning bright and somebody blowing out the candle. JFK Jr was burning bright. Potential for him for a future. Not anymore. God. Ever your daughter brings a Kennedy home, tell her no. Can I have some cards for the night that JFK Jr passed, please? For the accident, the airplane crash. Vision. Something with vision. Was it his vision as president? I don't know, I don't even know anything about him. Only that he was quite a good looking young man. Ambition. It's the same cards. It's the same cards Ted got out. It's the same cards that Ted had over his accident. Drama. It's the exact possibility. It's the exact same cards that Ted got out. Slightly different. I don't want to look too deeply because I don't want to bring too much energy in, but I am going to be at some point going to be channeling Carolyn Bassett. Is it another name I've probably butchered? Bassett Kennedy. In a few weeks' time. She's on my list of people. I've got a list that I've written and she's on my list. We'll look more at that then. But yes, I mean, it says it for yourself. The vision he had. The ambition he had. The drama. Again, another one that wanted but had so much drama going on in his life, a marriage that just was narcissistic, and we've got the addiction of Carolyn Bassett as well, the addiction energy that was there. Interesting. Right, you've got an interesting family that really teaches some stuff. I've been to Hyannisport. Gary took me on honeymoon because I was a huge Kennedy fan, and we went to Massachusetts. We sailed over from UK to New York and then worked our way up on Queen Mary 2 up to Canada. And one of the stops was Boston, it would have been. And we went from there on a coach trip to Cape Cod. Love Cape Cod. And we went on a boat trip round and up to Hyannisport. So I've seen the Kennedy compound with my physical eye. You know something as well, the energy at Cape Cod. When I went in 2017, I really loved it. Really loved it. But when you sail up to Cape Cod, it's like, wow. Not Cape Cod, Hyannisport. Any more messages? What are we on for this video? Any more messages for this channeling? Self-reflection, judgment, healing. There are going to be times during your present lifetime when you are going to be asked to look at yourself, to look at your evilness, your shadow, your dark, your light, your gifts, your pluses, your minuses. You're going to be faced with the darkness of yourself. You're going to want to run from it, but I'm asking you to sit with it. I'm asking you to acknowledge it, and I'm asking you to trust it and to be patient with it. At some point you are going to have to heal that which needs healing. Your life and your incarnations will keep spiralling until you do. It doesn't have to be cleared straight away, but be present. Pull back your power. Don't be afraid to sit with it, whatever it is. I have deep regret over so many parts of my life, but I learn a great deal from it, most of which I didn't fully learn until I transitioned over. Many of you worry that in this lifetime you may not see it, get it, understand it in this lifetime. That doesn't matter. When you go over with your guides, you are given an opportunity where it's safer and there's less earthly feeling there to see it, get it, understand it. Whatever you have done, whatever you have said, whatever you have wished upon another, however dark and however low you've sunk, even if you've sunk to the bottom of the ocean, it is never too late to come back. It is never too late to change whatever you've done. The deepest, darkest act of evil, it doesn't matter. It is never too late to change. There is always support. I didn't realise the support that was there until I passed. Forgive your parents. Forgive your bloodline. Forgive your ancestry. Forgive them the traumas. Forgive them of the evil acts. Forgive them. Learn from them. Accept it. Understand it. Try to open your heart to them. Do not fear them, for they fear you too. Life is difficult, very difficult. It's not easy for everyone. There are many great challenges upon our world at the minute, within families, within bloodlines, within our own individual stuff. We must come together and work together. Have patience with yourself, have patience with each other. And now, come back into myself, Claire, there is a portal opening up and Ted is there, he's holding his hand out to Mary Jo and they're walking through the portal to the other side. As they're doing that, my guides are doing some work around the car, around that event, so we're clearing that as well. They're walking through the portal to the other side. As he's saying, it is never too late. It is never too late. So I'm going to burp. Whether you take 5 years, 10 years, 5 lifetimes, 10 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, it's never too late. There's always another opportunity that comes into your life to give you that moment where you can choose to be the good person. Not the goody two shoes, but the good person. Wow. Let's pull a final card from The Secret Language of Light by Denise Jarvis. I enjoyed that. When you've done channeling, you feel a bit wrong afterwards. Inward revolution. Whispers. Inward revolution and whispers. This is all about the inward revolution. I hope you listen to his words there and I hope you take great peace from that. I get a lot of comments and a lot of emails from people that say that they've done things or experienced things in there. How do we clear the karma? How do we do this? Love, love, love. It can be really difficult. It can be really channeling. It can be really challenging. But it's just as easy to channel love as it is to channel hate. Thank you for watching. The decks I've used, if I've not told you in this, are the Oceanic Tarot by Jayne Wallace, the Secret Language of Light by Denise, Jarvis. The book that I've got here, I've not read it yet, so I don't know what kind of a book it is, whether it's a good book, whether I'm like going to be coming back on in a week's time going, don't read it. But if you've seen it, you're drawn to read it. It's called Before Chappaquiddick, The Untold Story of Mary Jo Kopechne and the Kennedy Brothers, and it's by William C. Kashatus. Everything I've used, written, she wishes, are recommended, will be in the description box below, in the description box or the comments. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my channeling work, you go to my playlist and there's a full list of people that I've channeled there, different people from different times in history. You can book sessions with me, you can book readings, you can book healings, you can book whatever you need to book, mentoring sessions for spirit free. It's all that. I've got a website below. Go to my website, which is below, and have a look. The next group healing is the 10th and 11th of May, which is about our sovereignty and empowerment. That is £22 and it's distance channeled. There is a video below in the comments section and the description section. So you go to the description, you go down, it says the next group healing, watch for more info. You click that link and that'll be the video about the group healing. There's also the website just below where you can click on it and that's where you make payment. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you want. The next person that I'm going to be channeling over the next couple of weeks is going to be Whitney Houston. I've got a list of people I'm going to be working my way through gradually, okay? I will be channeling Carolyn Bassett when the time's right. I think that's it. Lovely to spend some time with you. Take care. Depending when I load this, have a lovely Easter. If it's loaded after Easter, hope you've had a lovely Easter. Thanks for watching. Love to all, and I will see you later. Bye.